Hello and welcome back to Faces of Truth. I'm Alexander McCauley. I'll be your host here. We attempt to help Americans think for themselves again. During the last few months, we've experienced quite a few infringements on our God-given inalienable rights recorded in our Constitution and our first 10 amendments. One of these has been a program called the Paycheck Protection Program. The reason I call it a violation is because the funds that were allocated to it have been majorly given to big businesses and basically people who it was not supposed to go to. It was anyone that was on the globalist list for pork is basically who it went to. It was supposed to go to small businesses, which it didn't go to. Most small businesses had to suffer through this. Anyway, the amendment we're talking about that this was in violation of was no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or an indictment of a grand jury, except in cases of cases arising in land or naval forces or in the militia when actual service in times of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall the private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Anyway, so in shutting our small businesses down, they took our livelihood for the better of for the common good or public use. And then they proposed two bills that was supposed to give us compensation for having given our livelihood, so that we could flatten the curve, which wasn't really going to happen anyway. It was a big hoax well, they're calling it a hoax, but what it really was a fraud. And a fraud being something that was actually an infection that did kill a few people, but it was really exactly the same as most flus that are going around during that particular period of time. So they passed these bills to give small businesses the revenue to keep running without running through this period, because basically they took our livelihoods, and the government isn't supposed to be able to take your livelihood without just compensation. Well, most of the revenue allocated to these bills was funneled into liberal charities, businesses who had substantial resources put by to get them through this type of thing, and entrepreneurs like me who found themselves in a little bit of tax trouble that this could have helped us through, found themselves basically having to do whatever we could to get through on our own merits, instead of being compensated for resources stolen from us to fatten the pockets of liberal institutions across the United States. Anyway, just wanted to show another really big legacy of the COVID-19 hostage crisis. We need to look out for these things and make sure they never happen again. If you enjoyed this presentation, like, subscribe, make sure that you press the notification button so that whenever I upload these things, you can get them. And make sure to leave me comments whether you liked the presentation or not. Make sure to share also, because I am trying to get the truth about what has actually happened in these events out there, so that we can learn from our mistakes instead of falling prey to them again and again. Remember, this may be happening again this fall. We need to make sure it doesn't. We can't sustain this on a regular basis. Till next episode, this is Alex McCauley.